Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Creating Without Limits, Artistic Expression and Sight Loss, hosted by Retina UK. My name is Lauren Osborne-Lewis, and I'm the Digital and Event Senior Coordinator at Retina UK, and I'm excited to be your host this evening. Since working at Retina UK, I've had the opportunity to discuss and meet members of the community that partake in many activities where they can express themselves creatively. I have a joint honours degree in drama and music, and I spent 8 years as a performing arts school teacher. So artistic expression is a subject that's really close to my heart. These two things combined led to the idea of this webinar. I'm honoured to be hosting today's webinar, especially as we celebrate our first ever Retina UK Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness and celebrating the achievements of those living with inherited sight loss. We have had people across the country celebrate this event, from cake sales to radio broadcasts and quiz nights. We wanted to say our thank you for your fantastic support. Our panel today features 4 incredible individuals, all of whom use their creativity to express themselves and share their stories. They'll be showcasing their work and sharing their experiences with us tonight. Before we get started, here are a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. You'll be able to access the recording after the event on the Retina UK website, YouTube and Spotify channels. If you signed up for the event, it will also be emailed to you. There will be an opportunity for you to ask all sorts of questions at the end of the webinar, and we'll be collecting them as we go. Please feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A section, which can be found at the bottom of the screen if you're on the computer, or if you're on your tablet/phone, it can be found under the icon reactions. My colleague Jane is joining us today, but she's in the background, and we'll be moderating the Q&A and we'll be asking them on behalf at the end. Please do put your questions throughout this webinar. You don't need to wait till the end to ask them, as Jane will jot them down as we go. We endeavour to answer your questions, but in the event that we run out of time, we'll follow up via email. Now it's time for me to introduce our panelists that we have today. First, we have Tina. Now, Tina is a gifted Christmas card designer known for intricate and beautiful designs. She'll be sharing how she creates these detailed pieces and how her sight loss journey has influenced her work. She's also created Christmas cards for Retina UK. If you came along to our conference, you may have seen them on the fundraising stand. And Tina's designs can also be purchased on our online shop, which is on our website. We also have Adrian joining us. Now, Adrian is a painter who uses canvas as his medium to create bold and expressive works. He'll share his experience of channeling creativity through his art. You may also have seen his work if you came along to our conference too, as on our annual conference, he displayed some of his work on a stand in our exhibition space. I saw them and they really were beautiful. We also are joined by Rob Sears. Rob is the creator of Blind Focus with Rob Sears, where he shares his journey with retinitis pigmentosa through online content creation. He'll talk about how he uses his platform to build awareness and community around RP. We also lastly have Jay Seymour. Jay is a digital media enthusiast and video creator. He makes videos on social media and including short films and sketches, and uses his passion for storytelling. Right, now that's enough of me talking. It's time to jump into our conversation. First thing that I'd like to find out is I'd like to start by asking each of you how you first became involved in your creative fields. What inspired you to pursue your creative field, whether that be art or digital media or content creation, and how has your experience with sight loss shaped your journey? Tina, I thought we could start with you.
Hello, everybody. I've always been interested in arts and crafts from a young child, and heavily involved in school projects, and took it to GCSE and A level. And I didn't have a problem with my vision to begin with. In fact, I didn't know I had RP until I was late teens. So I never had a problem actually doing any art whilst I was at school. It wasn't until my mid-teens that I discovered oil painting, and then I read books and visited galleries and tried to learn as much as I could, bought myself some oil paints and started from there really, and I loved it. After my diagnosis, when I was about 19, I kind of lost a bit of confidence in painting until my mid-20s, when I thought, oh, I'll try it again, I'll take it up again. And it wasn't until I painted something that I thought the sky was blue and the grass was green, but actually it was the other way round. So I realised then that I had a problem with my colour vision as well as the RP. But it did knock me for a little while, for a few years, until I managed to go back to adult college and had a fantastic tutor. I mean, you can imagine the scene, walking in an art college with a white cane. I could feel everybody looking at me thinking, why are you here? But my tutor was amazing, and we found ways to adapt how I could do it. And I had the knowledge, but it was just changing the way I was thinking to put it onto canvas.
Lovely. That's really nice to hear, such an interesting story. Can you talk a little bit more about then how you came along to creating what you do now? So how from you going to college, how has that then developed your journey to now?
We're actually doing the Christmas cards, or just in
Yes.
general? The Christmas. So back in the old days, when Retina UK used to be RP Fighting Blindness, there was a function every year at Blackpool, and a very good friend and who I love immensely organised these events at Blackpool, where we took over a hotel for a weekend, and talkers and people from RNIB and doctors all came in and spoke to everybody. And I went there for years and made some good friends, and I used to paint my friends' family and their daughters and sons, and I would take them with me every time I went back up to Blackpool. Well, this lady who arranged Blackpool, saw this painting and said, right, next year you're talking for us at Blackpool. And I said, no, I can't do it. And she said, you're absolutely fine. Yes, you can. So I did it the next year, took loads of pictures. Just so happens the CEO at the time was at Blackpool of RP Fighting Blindness. And then that was it. The rest was history. I have so much to thank for this lady. And some people might still know her because her son is RP and her name is Beryl Duggan. So I just need to say that.
Yeah, no problem. I'll shout out to her. But that's so interesting. It's such an interesting journey for you to get there. It just seemed a bit by chance then. You didn't expect for it to happen.
Well, I didn't think that I would ever be good enough to produce something that you could sell through a charity. But she pushed and pushed me gratefully, and she really boosted my confidence. And yeah, it was what an amazing experience. It was great.
It sounds it, yeah. And do you do other things alongside the Christmas cards, or is that sort of the main artistry you do?
I do everything and everything, anything arts and crafts, from mosaic to needle felting to quilling, you name it, I do it.
Do
Absolutely
you
love
have do you have a favourite?
I have to say it was painting, but as my eyesight has deteriorated somewhat, that's kind of my second favourite thing now. My first thing is probably needle felting.
I have no idea what needle felting is. I'm sorry.
It's just going off track a little bit. So basically,
Yeah.
you get raw wool, which is before it's actually made into wool you can knit with. It's dyed, and you have a needle with barbs on it, which I know sounds painful, and it is if you stabbed yourself. And you basically stab the wall and create 3D images of things. And
Right.
the wall kind of, each time you stab, it knits it together. Actually, so for instance, something like this.
Okay, so you're holding up a mouse, is
Yes,
what
I
we'd call
am.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, little mouse, and that is what needle felting is. It starts off as a piece of wall, and you make it into something like that.
Oh, that looks great. Thank you. Sorry for that side step, but thank you for teaching us all how to do that. Maybe somebody will take it up now. Thank you so much, Tina. Adrian, if I could now move on to you, how did you discover your passion for painting, and what has your artistic journey been like?
It's an absolute pleasure being here. So the pathway, me getting into the painting side of things, it was almost the condition when it was first happening. Because of the deterioration of it and sort of adapting in different methods of art, the condition sort of steered me in that way, to sort of still express myself with painting. So with the painting that I do, it's very less strenuous on the vision that I have. So with me using mediums and pouring it onto the canvas, the painting sort of speaks for itself, and it sort of expresses um, how I sort of feel day-to-day basis.
Yeah. It's very emotionally driven, you say. You use your art to express that.
Yeah, definitely. So I sort of get driven by emotion on the day, or seasonal stuff like the colours of the season. But like what Tina was touching on with the colours, that maybe I see colours differently. Like I was picking out a colour not long ago, and I said to my wife, "Oh, I'm going to use like orange and purple," and my wife sort of said, "That's not purple, that's blue," and it sort of makes it even more creative in a way.
Yeah, I agree. It makes it dynamic to look at as well. Very interesting to look at. How has painting been something you've always loved since you were younger?
So when I was younger, I was very much of a pencil paper person, like doing self-portrait with pencil, and I wouldn't even go near painting, even thinking about doing painting. So in a way, with the adaptation and stuff like what's happening with progression, it sort of allowed me to tap into that, because I would never dream of using paints ever. So it's quite interesting to the ways of people expressing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And did you say that you found paint interest more easy to work with? I was interested by that. In what way?
Yeah, definitely. So painting for me, um, with the technique of doing it, it's very much like free flowing. It's never like one way or the right way. With when I was doing pencil before, it's very precise and a lot of like straining of concentration. But with paint now, it's very flow, like just a flow with the like movement of the paint.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't have to be as precise. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. And we'll have a look at one of your paintings in a little while and we'll be able to see exactly what it looks like. Thank you so much. Rob, if I can move on to you now, can you talk to us about what you do and some of the content creation you do and the videos that you make?
I can. First, can I ask Tina if I can have one of those mice? Because they're pretty cool.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Yeah, definitely. So I started on YouTube a year ago, literally a year and 2 days ago, and I'd been working in drug recovery, not as an addict myself, but as someone helping other people to come off of drugs. And something that became really clear was how badly run, how in danger the mental health service was, and how people that really needed help weren't getting the help they needed. So I thought, well, I've been doing a lot of psychology, mental health stuff. I've been learning hypnotherapy, relaxation techniques for my personal training business and stuff, lots of mindfulness, lots of stuff that could actually help people. And I thought, you know what, I need to get on YouTube and just create some videos that are faceless. So I'm not in them. I don't want to talk in them. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. So I just wanted to be the person that wrote everything and then get somebody else to talk it through and create it. And I started doing that for about 3 months and the results are really good. And I was getting some good feedback on stuff. And then I'd had people sort of saying, yeah, they're really good, but we kind of want to see you, like people want to engage in your channel because they want to see you. And I sort of took that and thought, I don't know if I'm ready, if I want to do that. And I had a chat to my wife, lots of chats to Laura, my wife, and decided to just get in front of the camera and just talk to people about my RP and about why I started the channel, and that was the idea. So I got a young guy called Kian. He was just finishing up university, so he wasn't charging me, you know, a kidney and an arm to film. So we sat down together. I was super nervous, and unfortunately, you're going to see my first video. I'm very nervous. It was really hard for me, and I actually opened up to the camera an awful lot more about my journey to that point, and about being in London, being mugged, being, you know, unconfident and not wanting to be perceived as somebody that was, you know, having a disability. I really kept it hidden. I didn't want people to see it. And those first two videos were like me almost coming out and saying, look, I've got a disability. It's at a point where I can't hide it any longer. And actually now I'm ready to sort of embrace it. And this is what the channel represents. So I put those two out with the intention of that being that, and, you know, whatever. But the comments and stuff that I started getting from other people in the RP community about the story resonating with them, and how it was inspiring them and helping them to keep doing it, I was kind of like, well, that touched me initially. And also the experience of being filmed walking around Norwich, it sort of highlighted for me what was really, really interesting was that I don't see what other people walking around with me see. So I can see the very small amount that I see in front of me, but I don't see what other people are doing around me. I'm just very, very focused on not walking into lampposts and not tripping myself up and that sort of stuff. So when I was looking at the footage that had been done, and I could actually see people kind of look in and move into the side. There's bits where I get hit by a bicycle. There's bits where, you know, I'm really struggling. It showed that, but it also shows the other side of it where I was crossing a road and a guy just came and took my arm and helped me to cross the road without even asking. And it was just such a beautiful moment captured on camera, that I was like, I feel like, A, I'm helping people in my own community, but B, this is something that I kind of need to use my position to kind of push and fight for other people that maybe don't have the confidence that I now feel like I have to, you know, raise awareness of, you know, visual impairment, blindness, disability in general. And so I kicked on, and, you know, I'm going from strength to strength with that, I think.
A great story. It's a really great story. And how have you found the channel has grown since those first video that you've put up?
Well, it's been a gradual kind of increase. So anyone that's been on any kind of YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you kind of put a post out and you think, oh, it'd be really cool to wake up in the morning and it's gone viral. And every time I put a video out, I think, oh, this could be the one. This is really good. I like this. This is going to get loads of views. And it doesn't always work that way. I can't figure out the algorithm. Nobody seems to understand it. So what somebody, Dave Steele, the blind poet, I've spoken to him quite a lot, and his advice, he's been doing stuff like this for 10 years, is that you have to stop focusing on where the subscribers are, what the view time's like right now, and just be aware that you're getting out there. You just have to keep going and focus on the journey for yourself and less about what everything is doing. So I feel like the channel is growing really nicely. And hopefully if I do a good job here today and everyone sees my videos, I might get a few more subscribers and views. But for me now, I feel so passionate about helping people, especially accessibility, especially confidence around the white cane, and making sport something that can be so positive for everybody, whether it's getting out of the house and going for a walk, whether it's doing some stretching, or whether it's actually getting to the gym or doing a sport like me. I do para triathlon, and I stick loads of that stuff on my YouTube just to say, here I am. I'm an average sports person doing really cool things in triathlon, and if you want to give it a go, come and give it a go.
Yeah, great. It sounds brilliant. I've watched some of your videos, and I can honestly, in that first video, you don't look at all nervous. I know you probably felt it, but I promise you. And the production values are really great.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely think that it's a process of getting better each time. So the video that you're going to see tonight was 7 months ago, and it's amazing for me to see the progression of, I'll watch it back myself, think, oh, I don't like the way the light is there, I don't like how I'm talking, so I make sure the next video is better and the next one's better. And the more I'm getting stuck into helping people, and the passion is just kind of comes through. It's so easy to do these videos because it's like, I just want to help as many people with RP as I can.
Yeah, and it'll be the authenticity that comes across, and that's what will be more easily consumed as well.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Jay, sorry for you waiting around there. Can you talk us through what you do, please?
Yes, of course. So first of all, hello everyone, and thank you, Retina UK, for having me. Excuse me, tonight. Yeah, so my kind of artistic story sort of began when I was very young. Actually, when I was 6, I joined the Italian Conti Associates, which is like a performing arts school. I joined there when I was very young, as kind of like a Saturday club. Didn't think anything of it at the time, just it was a fun club to do. And then I ended up staying there for about 12 years. So a really, really long time. And then kind of gradually moved into Lambda, which are drama exams. And then I thought I'm going to really start taking drama seriously. But unfortunately, when I was 12, diagnosed with RP. So working on a stage during that time, as you're going through your teenage years, and you're stood on stage and suddenly the lights cut to black, is not the easiest thing when you've got RP, and getting off to the wings became more and more challenging. So as I left college, I started to do a bit more traveling. I thought, well, I've got most of my day site left at that time. Let's get the world seen, go and do some traveling around. And I started getting into video making, like vlogging. So capturing everything that I was doing, because I was thinking that maybe one day, if I lose more and more of my site, then I want to capture everything now. So I sort of look back on it. And I kind of like developed a real passion for behind the camera, and sort of kind of creating stories in a way that I could sort of show how I see the world rather than how the average person with normal vision would see. So during my travels as well, I saw an advert for a film academy in Greenwich, and they offered a 10-day course to help you kind of get your foot into the film industry. And it was kind of a way of meeting like-minded people like yourself, who also had like a passion for film, but maybe didn't quite have the experience or like a foot in the door. So I joined a 10-day course, and in that 10 days, you're put with random people that you've never met before. So everyone is new. Everyone is kind of like, you know, some experience in film, and others were complete beginners. And in that 10 days, you're kind of forced together, and you have to make a film in that 10-day with people you never met. And it actually ended up being probably the best 10 days of my life. I ended up meeting who are now my main social group. So my best friends now are from that course, which is fantastic. And since that course, we've gone on to make short films, kind of different like dramas and comedies, and even documentaries about RP actually in the past. So it's been like really good to kind of get perspective of in front of the camera and behind the camera in that time. And I think kind of more towards the years gone on, I've kind of moved back towards in front of the camera and gone down more the comedy stage. So during lockdown, obviously when we had a lot to do creatively, we hit a bit of a fugue and a drought. So I got back into vlogging, and I was filming like video diaries, but in a very kind of slapstick 80s Blackadder kind of way, which is filming video diaries of like day-to-day living in lockdown with a flatmate while you've got RP, and turn it, have like a more comedy spin on it. So that's kind of been my creative journey, yeah, with film.
And at what point are you at now? Are you at the vlogging stage? Are we at the short film stage? Or are you just dabbling between the both?
So at the moment, I'm dabbling through the both. With vlogging now, I'm more kind of, I used to vlog for YouTube, kind of similar to what Rob's doing at the moment, but I've moved more towards kind of short, snappy vlogs now. So only like 1-minute videos on Instagram, TikTok, I haven't gone anywhere near. I refuse to go near that. But yeah, we still work with the film friends that I met on the film course. We're still making short films now. We actually are part of this company at the Act One Cinema in Acton. It's a local independent cinema, and they host a event called the Sound and Vision event once a month, and it's where people can submit short films to get the exposure. And in that event, we show like kind of like 8 or 9 films a night, and then at the end of it, you can network and meet the people who made those films and get talking about the creativity and how it was made. So it's a really good kind of like every month keeping that momentum going of trying to keep going, making films.
Yeah, sounds it. Thank you so much. We'll see a snippet of one of your short films later, and we can talk a bit more about how you created that. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is talk about if sight loss has impacted the creative process, any challenges you may have faced, and like how you might have adapted your approach to continue creating and sharing your work. Adrian, could we go to you with this answer? Please.
Yeah, definitely. So sight loss overall, it has sort of impacted in a disadvantage, but also a positive way of creativity. I would say the disadvantage was when I was first doing artwork, the capability of going outside and dropping my artwork around the community for free with my art drops. I needed to do it around a time where my wife was free, so around the weekends and stuff. But I think it was mainly like being in a community, being like almost a part of the community, because you sort of do feel a bit isolated when you go through something like this. But finding my way through art itself, it sort of has heightened my creativity in a way. But yeah, overall, the adaptations, what individuals that go through it, as with the drawing at the beginning of pencil to pastels, and then I was finding myself getting more tired and headaches and stuff. So I was thinking of ways like, how can I adapt this so I don't feel like this? So yeah, it was like a gradual adaptation over adaptation to continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. And you were just touching then about how you share your work. How do you get people to see your artwork?
So on social media, I've created like a page on Facebook where it's open to the public to see my journey through the beginning to now. And I typically do a video in the comfort of my home, so I know my surroundings. I can do what I need to do, and it's nice for people in the community to see how it's actually done. So it's sort of comfort of home and getting out into the public in the weekends and dropping the artwork around.
Yeah, so you drop it around your local town in shops, in libraries, in cafes.
Yeah, it was most randomest places. So I started within my local community when I was living in Watermead in Aylesbury. So I was dropping them around the lake around there, and I thought nothing much of it because I was thinking, well, it's something giving back to the community. I'll just see how it goes from now. And yeah, it just picked up. The local community was finding them around the lake, and then words sort of spread it out. And then I was going to more Aylesbury way, Brackley, and it just spreaded, and you'll get messages saying, could you do some drops around this area, because I really would love to find one of your pieces. And it's just lovely to see, to know that a piece of art can change someone's mental health and raise awareness for people that are going through sight loss, that they can be creative, they can do pieces like this. And yeah.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this webinar this evening, to show there are many different ways that you could be creative and also express yourself emotionally as well, which is exactly what you've touched on. Thank you so much, Adrian. I hope to find one of your pieces as I'm walking around the town one day. Rob, now obviously your journey with sight loss and RP has influenced your work quite a lot, but I was wondering any adjustments you've made when you've created your content, especially around accessibility.
Oh, good question. So, I mean, the first thing is that I found Kian and we work very well as a team together. Now, I have the ideas. I tell him how I like it to look. So almost putting it out there as this is what I want it to look like. This is what I'm going to be saying. And then he will record stuff and then he'll show me it and I'll say, oh, I quite like that, don't like that, blah. So we kind of worked together quite closely over 7 months to sort of, he now is starting to know what I like the look of. But the subject matter, what I say, what I do, that's all me. And a lot of it is just me talking from the heart about whatever I'm passionate about on those days. In terms of work, I've always found that people that have employed me have been very good with helping me with my sight. I'm also, as you may have noticed, I'm quite headstrong, so I don't like it if I feel like people are not helping me and they should be helping me. I'm not afraid to say, look, I've got this as a problem, I really need help. And to be fair, I've not encountered many problems in the workplace. Getting interviews is a completely different thing, because I don't think that's very accessible. I think sometimes the criteria for work can be very off-putting to someone with a visual impairment, but that's a completely different story. But for me personally, I've always found that if you are brave enough to ask for help, people will normally always help. And this is something that my videos hopefully show, is that having RP, it obviously takes a lot away from us. But what it also gives us is the resilience to adapt, to overcome challenges. So actually any challenges that I come up against when we're filming, like lights not working, batteries running out, blah, 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 things that would stress other people out doing that, I'm just like, you know what, it's all good, because we overcome so much more in our lives every day that it makes some of these little things a little more trivial. I need to get to London from Norwich and my wife is at work, my parents are at work. Well, they're not at work, they're retired, but they work hard at golf and partying around doing all their bits and pieces. They're busy people. I'm a 43-year-old man. I should be able to get on a train from Norwich and get up to London. So you know what, that's what I go and do. And whatever challenges come up, I just make videos about it to make people aware. Look, if you're getting on a train or a tube, this is what you're going to encounter. This is my experience, but it can be done. You've just got to not be afraid to take that step. And I think it's, the more I do this stuff, the more I see how difficult it can be for people that don't have my confidence, and maybe haven't built that resilience and the adaptability. And if I can use my journey to show other people it can be done, you just need to work at it a bit at a time and keep pushing. It can be done. And like everyone on the screen, there's probably moments where we're not completely positive and we don't feel resilient, we don't feel like we can adapt, but you give us a day or two to mull it over and we'll come back with an idea of how we're going to get over it and keep painting, keep doing art, keep vlogging, keep doing all the great things that everyone's doing.
Yeah, agree. Thank you. So a nice positive message, and you kind of touched on it, but I was going to ask around, do you find yourself adapting the work that you're creating because of the community that you are talking to? Like you just said about, they might be different to you in their mindset. So do you change it because of that?
Yeah, I do. And I think one of the most significant things, and Lauren will laugh at this when she watches it, but I'm always someone that is like, I'm full of ideas and I'm always, oh, this is the next thing I'm going to chuck myself into 100 miles an hour. Because for me, you know, my eyesight is precious. I don't have, you know, I don't know how long I've got what I've got. So I appreciate that I've got it and I'm going to do everything I can while I can. So when I said I'm going to start YouTube, it was just like, oh man, how much is this going to cost? And you know, the like. So I was like, look, this is what it is. I'll give it a year, and if I feel like the channel's getting traction, it's going somewhere, then I'll keep it going. If not, then I've done a year and it's great. But a couple of months ago, I took the decision to stop my part-time work for my drug and alcohol service and allow myself time to actually put my energy into chasing down the stuff and the opportunities that were coming from the YouTube stuff. Now, obviously, everybody on YouTube wants to make a living from it. I'm self-sufficient, so I'm paying for everything myself until my channel gets to a point, if it gets to a point where it can kind of pay for itself. So I feel so passionately about my mission of helping other people with RP, blindness, visual impairments, disability, that I've given up working 3 days a week for a charity to give myself the opportunity to pursue it, because I just feel that's where my passion should be. I've always been someone that's wanted to help other people. It's only been probably the last 6 months that I've realized that my energy and passion can be so useful to the blind and visually impaired community. And that's all I want to do, you know. So I work from home, I do my PT and my sports massage from home, I coach triathlon and running at the weekends, and that pays the bills. But the rest of my time and everything else is put into my wife, my dogs, and my YouTube. And just how I just want to get my message out there that, you know what, if I'm doing this stuff and we're all showing that you can do other stuff, you don't have to do, you know, knitting, art. I can't do art or anything like that. I'm not skillful like that. I wouldn't have had the courage to get on this and talk tonight. And I know I'm running over and making everyone bored, but it's like, I think we're all here with the same message that yes, we have RP and yes, it takes a lot from us, but actually, you know what, it doesn't need to take everything and you can do so much more with it.
Yeah, agree. I'm sure everyone watching agrees too. Thank you so much, Rob. Tina, I've seen obviously some of your Christmas cards and they're so intricate and detailed. And I wanted to ask about how you approach this work and what changes you have made as your site has changed.
Can I just say that first of all, the whole confidence thing that everybody's touching on is so important, because leaving, you find that 6 months ago you could do something and then 6 months later you can't, and it's that you lose your confidence. So it's similar with the painting. I go to do one painting and think, I could have done this last year, why can't I do it this year? What's changed? Now that could be anything from the colours to the detail to, I don't know what I'm looking at, the picture's too intricate. So I find ways, like we all do, to overcome those problems, and you find a new confidence when you find a new way of dealing with something. So going back to the pictures, I would blow them up. I would ask my husband to draw around the outlines of the house, of a tree, so in a dark felt tip so I could see it. He would have to tell me what the colours were in the tubes of paint, and then I would lay them out on my palette and I would remember what they were. I would ask him what colour this was or what colour that was, because to me it would look like a completely different colour. If the painting was in my head, I would have an idea of what it is I wanted to paint, but I would gather a few pictures to give me some inspiration and some ideas, perhaps go out and take a few photos, blow them up a lot, and then just take little bits from each of the pictures and put them together to create one picture. And in my head, I still remember what things look like. So I can paint them, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to see them, but I know what they should look like. So I kind of go from memory as well. So it's a little bit of everything really. And then at the end of it, I'll say to my husband, what does this look like? And he says, well, are you sure that that's supposed to be blue? And I said, but what is it then? And he'll say something completely different, but that's okay, because now I know, we'll just change it. So it's overcoming problems like that.
Yeah, it seems like the constant message is just to learn, just to always evaluate and always think, okay, well, maybe it was wrong the first time, we'll just do it again. It's that resilience to keep on going. Thank you so much, Tina. And then lastly, Jay, going to you and your videos. Obviously, it requires a lot of attention to detail to create the videos. Have you found that your sight loss has affected the video making process?
So it's definitely changed the way I approach, especially when it comes to editing. Now, obviously, when people think of video editing, it requires looking at the clips and putting them together. So when I first joined the Film Academy and started getting into editing, that was a big challenge in the thought, oh my God, how on earth am I going to do this? Like put these clips together if I can't even really properly see the actors and what they're doing. And I kind of went through a bit kind of like oh, can I do this? But then I thought, do you know, no, I'm here to do a job, and maybe it's not going to be a case of where I sit here and I do it like everyone else does it. I just need to take a step back and think, right, how can I do this using my other senses? Thankfully, I've got a little bit of vision left in the day, so I was able to just about make out kind of body shapes, things like that. But what I did instead was like, right, I'm going to start editing the audio first. So let's say, for example, we have a conversation of two actors sitting in a restaurant and having a breakup scene. Let's put the conversation together first. So I would take like kind of break the video and the sound apart, take the audio files, and thankfully my laptop's designed in a way where it's like kind of like black and white, so I can see what I'm doing. And I put the conversation together. So right, if a man says this and then the woman responds, how quickly would the man respond to that, and so on and so forth, and kind of listen out to how would I picture that conversation playing out. And then what I found is by doing it that way, you found that a lot of the visual just kind of naturally fit on top of it afterwards. So what was really great was when that film was actually shown in a local cinema, a lot of people said how well it was cut. And what was amazing, it was the fact that it was just literally just taking it from a different approach and kind of editing it in a different way. So yeah, there definitely are challenges on like being on set as well. Obviously, you've got to think things like wires, very easily trippable, very easy to trip over. And obviously like kind of working on the camera itself can be quite challenging because it's very hard to kind of see through it. Things like that. I'd say like acting as well has become very challenging with especially being on like location. So we did a film recently where I was standing outside a front door and I had two actors on top of a balcony and I had to kind of like look up towards them, and I had to kind of use a lot of when they were speaking to kind of work out where they were positioned, especially when it was a really sunny day and a lot of glare as well. So it definitely has its challenges, but it's just more kind of having to kind of just work closely with the director, who is thankfully a very good friend of mine, who would always kind of put like white markers down for my position. So I would always know where to go and stand, and kind of using those markers to kind of like look up in a certain direction. So it's like, right, so the actors are going to be at your 1 o'clock at all times. So if we're standing still, and I always love the films when we're standing still and there's no moving.
But yeah, it's about working with people, but also finding what works for you as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Lovely. Right, it's now time for us to see some of this work that we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. Adrian, can we start with you? If you could show up a painting that to the screen that I'm sure you're about to grab.
So this one was my first umbrella piece. I know.
Yeah, we can see it. So it's sort of okay. I'm going to describe the. Do you want to describe the picture? Would you like me to describe it for you?
I can try.
Yeah, go on.
So it's very abstract. It's a sort of marble effect between like blues and purples, and it's just like swirling into each other. and at the bottom of the canvas, I've made a couple with the umbrella in gold, and it almost reminds me of like a couple walking into a waterfall with opening up.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, it kind of I kind of get like it looks like a sea as well. The top of it kind of looks like the ocean. So it is, yeah. When you said about the waterfall, that does. It looks like they're walking into like the ocean is parting ways for them, I suppose. So yeah, that really comes across. And when you created this, did anything inspire it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So because this was the first time I'd done the umbrella people, I was inspired by my wife. So during the 2 years, because I've only been recently diagnosed with RP, and it did flip our world upside down, being a full-time carer and a window maker. So being at home and a bit isolated, my wife was always there to pick me up, and I wanted to capture that moment in a image of a couple. And I keep on saying to my wife, you are always there holding the umbrella for me. So it's almost a image that has gone on through all my pictures that I do going forward. There's always a stencil now of a couple with umbrella. So unfortunately, I can't paint the umbrella people now. I use like a stencil of a cutout of a couple holding the umbrella. But I just wanted to capture that moment of telling people there's always someone there looking over your shoulder and looking after you. So don't feel that you're on your own, and don't feel like you're not equal to anyone else. You are brilliant.
Beautiful photo, and it's as much of a beautiful message as well. What inspired the image. Thank you so much for showing it to us. And as Adrian said, he does show a lot of his work on Facebook. So if you want to see the rest, if you want to go have a browse of what he does, then I'm sure in the caption when I upload this video, I can put your account in so you can see it. Thank you so much, Adrian. Okay, Jay, we're going to show a couple of minutes of your film. Whilst I'm going to share my screen, do you want to give a description as to what the video is about, just in case people don't?
I can do. So this film we're about to show, I actually originally wasn't meant to be on it. So what it is, it's a short feel-good comedy. If anyone has ever seen the show Modern Family, it's kind of inspired from that kind of mockumentary style. Basically, what the film is about, it's about a very handsome ghost who comes along to take part in his haunting exam, and he's not the most confident ghost in the world, and has become a little bit stuck along the way. So he has to kind of reveal himself to the human that he is meant to be haunting, to kind of help him train to become a better ghost. And they sort of develop a beautiful friendship along the way. Why this role was so brilliant was I was meant to come on just to kind of like be the guy who does the BTS behind the scenes, get some photos, some vlogs and footage of whatever it is they were making in that 48-hour challenge. But we found that with the ghost character, how amazing it would be great to use someone who doesn't matter if they can't see under the blanket, because they can't really see when the blanket is off anyway. And it was a really, really lovely role to play, as I got to use my RP for its strengths. In fact, having to kind of move around the room using my other senses. And yeah, no, it was a very lovely little film to make.
Great, thank you. Let's we'll watch about 2 minutes of it.
Are we filming? Are we filming? We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Cool, 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 cool. I'm a bit nervous doing this. My name is Colin, and I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But as you can see, I am a ghost, and I'm back here in the human world for a week because I'm here to complete my haunting exam. I study ghosting at the University of Cerberus, which is very, very exciting. And if I pass this exam, then it will give me a chance to better my life in the underworld. A little bit about the victim that I've chosen. I chose this woman, Caroline, because she's young, she lives by herself. It's my challenge this week. I have a week to, basically, I have to scare her senseless. So when I signed up to her house, I thought that it would be an easy target, but I've been here about 3 or 4 days now, and I'm really kind of struggling. For example, I've tried, started with the classics. I've been flickering the lights, it's a wasted time. All that did was just up her energy bill. I've blown out candles. What does she do? No, just gets a lighter and lights it back up again. Oh, knocked over a photo frame. What happens? She sneezes. It's just nothing works. I'm losing my patience. I don't know what else I can try. For some reason, humans always feel that we can run through walls or doors or anything like that. We can't at all. If I run through a door, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna really hurt. So I need to be careful of that.
Lovely. Sorry, that's all we've got time for. Again, we could just put the link to it within the caption of this video. But it comes across. The comedy really does come across. Were you very proud of it once you'd made it?
Yes, no, we were. It came out. The whole idea is that we wanted to, over like 2024, we've definitely been kind of going down the comedy route. And yeah, we got a very, very good reaction when we showed it in the cinema. A lot of laughter, and people were laughing at the right moments as well, which is really, really good. But no, it was a lovely feeling. And it was great as well to sit in the audience and no one knows who you are because you're hidden under a sheet.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much. Tina, could you show us one of your designs, please? Even though we have seen your marvellous mouse already.
Maybe not this one, because this was my first ever Christmas card for what was then RP Fighting Blindness. So it's
Could you lift it slightly higher? Sorry, Tina.
Yes, of course.
There we go. Yeah, perfect. Wow.
So this is really important to me because it's my first Christmas card, and because my friend Beryl from Blackpool again asked me to paint this picture or give something spiritual or religious, and so I did it for her. And as I said, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing the Christmas card. So it's really important, and also because it's a portrait, which is my favourite things, ironically, even though I can't see anybody. Portraiture is my favourite thing, so it has lots of special meanings to me.
Beautiful. It's really beautiful. Just the different colors, the realism of what we're seeing. It really comes across. Absolutely, it's lovely. And do you keep all do you keep these paintings, or
no?
Does that get?
Some of them I've given to friends if they particularly like them, or I might have sold them if I've done a fair or something, but most of them are just stored away in boxes.
No, it's beautiful. Maybe you should be dropping them around the local town as Adrian does.
Yes, I know. I've got an idea now what to do. Yeah. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Tina. It's such a beautiful painting. And then lastly, Rob, we'll probably only will have about 2 minutes to sort of sniff it, if that's all right. But could you, whilst I'm loading it up, a brief overview of what it is essentially?
Yeah, well, had I known you were going to show it out, I probably would have picked one of my recent ones, because this is going to make me cringe a little. But this is basically one of my first videos. So I made 2 at the same time. This is one of them. Yeah, here we go. They have got better since this as well. I'm not sure what the dog is. Maybe it's an advert.
It's an advert.
What a cute dog. Amazing.
Here we go. Right, are you ready to show it?
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to cringe in the corner. So retinitis pigmentosa is a group of inherited problems with the retina. The variant that I have is called X-linked RP. Basically, is an issue with the X chromosome. So the disease affects me mainly complete night blindness, which sounds a bit mad when you explain it to people. Night blindness, it's like, well, no one can see very well at night time, but it's basically any time that there is darkness, so changes in light. So I could be indoors and there'd be poor lighting, I suffer with that. Can never, I've never been able to see anything at night time, so completely blind at night. My disease, as I've said before, has kind of progressed into tunnel vision, so less than 10% peripheral vision now. That's a massive problem for getting around. I have to actually look where I'm going because my eyesight isn't good enough to just use the peripheral vision anymore. And it means that, quite often I get startled by people cutting across me and doing whatever. So that's quite a big thing. I'm very sensitive to light, so I'm blind at night, but I'm also pretty much blind when there's really bright lights, bright sunshine. It's quite dazzling. Obviously I'm out at night and I can't see much, and you get someone driving past with their full beams on, that's quite something. So yeah, the night blindness, tunnel vision, that's the main issues. My central vision was always pretty good. It allowed me to be independent for a long time. As I've got older.
There you go. That's just a short snippet.
That's the saddest bit of the video, honestly. Yeah, it's all good.
I've watched it all, and I can testify to the fact it's a fantastic video. Again, we can put the link in the footing of the videos so people can see it, and they can see any other videos you've made as well. We've spoken so much, everyone, which I know is my fault, really. But we have run out of time, I think, to have any questions. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for sharing your work with us. It's been so lovely to see them, and I know everybody else. If there are any burning questions, I'm sure that we can get them back to you at another time, and then we can distribute them out. So thank you so much. Just to wrap up tonight's webinar, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on the brilliant work that you've all been doing, and how incredible it was to see, and how lovely it was to have the opportunity to hear from our 4 incredibly talented individuals, and also celebrating Retina UK Day today. So Retina UK holds a webinar most months about a range of different topics. Coming up in November, we have a webinar about the Big Give and how your donations make a difference. And in December, we have an Ask the Expert special. We also do monthly podcasts, which can be found on our Spotify channel as well. To ensure you don't miss out on hearing about our upcoming webinars, you can visit the events page of our website, sign up to our newsletters, or keep an eye out on our social media channels. Retina UK is a registered charity, and we receive no government funding, and we do rely on our wonderful supporters, such as yourselves, to help us raise funds needed to provide our vital services, to invest in groundbreaking research. If you want to make a donation, you can do that through our website or phoning our office. One way you can support us is through our Retina UK raffle, which is running this month. Tickets are just £1 each, and your generous contribution will help us fund potentially life-changing research projects and maintain our vital support services, such as the helpline and peer support groups. Again, if you want to have any information about our raffle, that can be found on our website. Thank you all so much for your support. A huge thank you to our panelists, Tina, Adrian, Rob, and Jay, and for sharing your personal stories and showing us your creative work. I know we've all loved seeing them. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Night, sorry, and also happy Retina UK Day. Thank you all so much.